Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. And speaking of MANOWAR band members, I wanted to mention and offer my condolences on the passing of Scott Columbus. What can you tell us about Scott and your thoughts about him?
Well, he was one of those rare people. He was one of those people that was actually in some ways too good to live. He was a sensitive guy. He cared about everything that happened. He felt things, very, very deeply. And, toward the end of his life, he got involved with people who encouraged him to just do anything he wanted to do, and he didn't have enough people around him telling him that he should, be thinking differently and acting differently. He kind of gravitated toward people who said, yeah, do this, do that, because it was good for them, and it was bad for him. Mm. But he was like his heroes in the sense that he admired guys like John Bonham. Keith Moon was a huge hero of his. And, some of these drummers, for some reason, they all have kind of a common thread that they just adhere to this policy of, the way they live is the way they play. Hit it as hard as you can and keep on hitting it.
Must have something to do with making a living hitting things.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, they're special people. When you look at the great drummers, and Scott was one of the greats. I mean, if you look at Keith Moon and John Bonham, all of these guys, they did what they wanted to do, and people always said the same thing about these guys. They were great people. They were nice guys, but they wanted to really, kind of go like a skyrocket.
Yeah.
Up into the air. Big explosion, and that's that. And he lived the way he wanted, and he'll be missed. And he was loved and respected, and he was just a really, really great person. And that's really the truth. I mean, if he was anything but, I would say it. But he truly was a great guy and a great musician, and he'll be missed. And we honor his memory forever.
Joey DeMaio of MANOWAR is my guest. It's Eddie Trunk. Just a few more minutes with Joey before we let you go. The date, again, is November 19th, Starland Ballroom, Sayreville, New Jersey, the only American MANOWAR show announced for the year. But tell us, Joey, what the future holds for you guys as far as going into 2012, as far as new music, potentially more dates in America. What do you have on the table?
Well, it's kind of funny, but these American shows that we've done, and there's only been a handful, have sold out, immediately. So I'm sure we'll be doing some other dates, next year at some point when the new record comes out. We're going to be focusing on summer festivals. We'll be doing a brand new festival in Holland in June of 2012. That's the first one on the map. You can check these dates out on the website. We'll be doing another new festival called Getaway in Sweden. That'll be the first week in July. And on and on. So it's just getting started, but we're starting to book up a year in advance. And, the big festival stages, the outdoor shows, are where MANOWAR really, comes into our own. I mean, there are a few bands that can really play these big stages and deliver, the kind of intensity and show that a festival crowd of 30, 40, 50,000 people, want and need. And I'm not saying this for any other reason, but we've been doing it for a while, and it's a certain technique to play these big stages and these big festivals and deliver the goods. And it really allows us, to kind of run the way a racehorse was meant to run, when we've got all this equipment. I mean, you have to remember, we're playing through 200 and 300 times the amplification that other bands play through.
It's amazing. And you were telling me when I spoke to you on the phone not too long ago that you are working on some sort of true 3D audio for your live shows?
Yeah, I've been hired as a consultant to a company called Auro 3D, A-U-R-O 3D. You can check it out. And this friend of mine has developed not only the greatest recording studio in the world, Galaxy Studios in Belgium, but he has also developed this new 3D sound for 3D movies, and it's going to become the new standard in movie theaters. And we've been working with him for a while. His name's Wilfred Von Balen, and he's just a gifted genius. And I've already recorded some tracks and mixed them in Auro 3D, which he uses for demonstrations. So, we would like to be able to give the audience the chance to hear this and experience it live. world hears it in movie theaters. But once you hear this, there's no going back. That's for sure. I mean, we're talking about really living and being a part of the sound all around you, from above, below, and around. It's just, you're encapsulated in sound. It's pretty amazing.
Well, anybody that's seen MANOWAR live knows that 3D or not, you're pummeled by sound, because clearly it truly is the loudest show you will ever hear. But what I always thought was so great about it is it's not just loud for the sake of loud. It's a clean loud. It's a good loud. It's not as incredible as the volume is. There's a clarity to it that I've never really heard before, and obviously that comes, I imagine, through the equipment you talk about playing and the level of perfection you bring to putting on a show.
Well, yeah, I mean, Eddie, it's like watching these shows, and you see these people talking about their houses and their cars and all of this, the stuff that's important to them. Well, our money goes back into sound equipment and being able to reproduce high levels of music with an incredible dynamic range, all the way from hearing a pin drop, on up to, thunder, and really trying to reproduce that. And it costs money, and it takes time and work and research, and that's why we have a unique sound and the highest quality sound that no other band is going to achieve. I mean, it takes money, and that's where our money goes, back into the music in every facet. Whether, as I said, it's music in the way of tickets, it's music in the way of sound live, it's music in the way of CDs, DVDs, shirts, and every single thing that we do. And that's where the fans know they can trust when they come to a MANOWAR show. They're going to get 300%.
Two quick things, Joey, and then I'll let you go. I wanted to ask you about the next MANOWAR album and where you're at with the progress of it.
Knee deep is what I would say.
Written, recorded, do you have a timetable on when it'll come out?
Well, the plan is right now, right around May or June, when we start the next festival run for 2012.
Okay, so somewhere around the middle of next year, we'll get a new album.
Absolutely.
And the other thing I wanted to ask, looking at the reissue of, or I should say the re-record of Battle Hymns, I see that the album is partially dedicated to the late Ronnie James Dio, who was a dear friend of mine. I actually was just asked yesterday to MC the charity dinner that's going to happen in L.A. in November to raise money for the cancer fund that Wendy has started. Tell me about your relationship with Ronnie, if you will.
Well, growing up in upstate New York, which is where Ronnie was from, you couldn't help but know who he was. He used to play at our high school, and he was my childhood hero. And, being a musician, myself, or at that time a wannabe musician, it was a dream just to be able to talk to him at high school dances. And he was a friendly, nice person, as were the rest of the elves. And after playing and learning how to play, eventually, years down the road, I was playing in the band Elf, which was Ronnie's old band, when he left to join Rainbow, and I played with his cousin Feinstein, and we're still friends to this day. Feinstein, was on Magic Circle Music. So ultimately, when he joined Black Sabbath, he needed someone to go out on the road and help build their equipment, and he called Doc, and Doc said, Joey DeMaio's got the best bass preamp in the world. I built it, and, Geezer needed one. I wasn't playing in a band because I swore a vow of death, hate, and revenge to nightclub owners. I wouldn't play club music again. So I decided I wouldn't play live again until I could play my own music. So I let Geezer use my preamp and went over to England to help Ronnie and Black Sabbath when they did the first Heaven and Hell album. And we were just dear friends, and I love the guy. We had a lot of respect for each other, just as people and as musicians. And he'd been over to my house many times, and we spent a lot of good times together. And it was an amazing thing to see him approve of my career and my progress and all the wonderful things he used to say about me. Embarrassingly, in fact, when we did the Monsters of the Millennium Tour when MANOWAR was actually headlining, and we would do interviews together, myself and him and Lemmy, and he would say, this guy's the hardest working guy. And, he would embarrass the hell out of me. He would just say, but that's the way he was. He was sincere, and you knew him, and you knew that if he liked somebody, he would say he liked the person, and if he really liked somebody, he'd go overboard. But he had a big heart, and his heart was, his heart was as big as his voice. There was a big voice.
Oh yeah, and there was nobody like him. I mean, a similar story comes to mind. One of the first times I started working in TV around 2002, and he was one of my earliest interviews. But I had known him for a long time before that through the radio show, and we were friends. And we were wrapping up the interview, and right on camera, he stops and he looks, and I said, "Well, Ronnie, thank you." And he said, "No, wait, I have to say something." And then he goes on to say on camera, "No, thank you. You have been keeping this alive and giving people like me an outlet for decades," and going on, and I just wanted to curl up and die on camera, but that was just genuine and real.
It was genuine. Yeah, he was not the kind of person.
No, it wasn't a kiss-ass thing. No.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
No, he was really, really a great person and a great talent, and there will never be another like him. That's for sure.
And I just realized, too, something just came to me, too, before I let you go, that actually, your experience being out on that Sabbath tour, it was actually where the origins of MANOWAR was formed, right?
That's true. That's
because
very
Ross
true.
was opening for Sabbath, was it?
That's correct, yeah. Ross and I first played together in one of their dressing rooms, actually using their guitars. I think actually Ross had his. I think I grabbed one of Geezer's basses. But yeah, while Sabbath was on stage, Ross and I started jamming in the dressing rooms.
And what band was Ross in?
Ross was in a French group called Shaken Street.
And that's who was opening for Sabbath on that tour when you met him?
Absolutely.
That's amazing. Do you remember did the song that when you first met and jammed on in that dressing room, did it make it onto Battle Hymns?
We didn't jam to original material. I think we just jammed to stuff that we knew. I think we probably played stuff like Cream and Mountain and Sabbath and Cactus and Led Zeppelin and the early classic roots of metal.
Right. Well, it's a great story, Joey, and I'm so glad that the band is continuing and doing some stuff in America, and I look forward to the new record next year. And again, I urge everybody to get out and see what is a rare occurrence, a MANOWAR show in America. Starland Ballroom, Sayreville, New Jersey, November 19th. It may not still be standing after that date, as Joey has warned. And if you've seen MANOWAR, you know what he's talking about. The tickets are available now, starlandballroom.com, manowar.com. And if you go to eddietrunk.com, there's a banner and a link for the show right there on the homepage as well. It's always a pleasure, Joey. I appreciate the time, and I look forward to seeing you in November in Jersey, and we'll keep everybody up to date with what you guys have going on.
Well, thanks very much, and thanks to your audience, and we really appreciate the support. And true metal will definitely never die as long as there's people like you and your audience and our audience, and we've all got to stick together. And if you don't like heavy metal, you're not my friend.
Well, thank you, Joey. And I'm going to take a break, and then on the other side, I'm going to play something from the re-recorded Battle Hymn. So I'll let you go, and I will see you soon, my friend.
Thanks very much.
All right, take care.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.